Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Convey with Caroline, the podcast where every story becomes your path to powerful communication and personal growth. I am your host, Caroline Giro, and this is episode 5. In our last episode, we dove into confidence, how to build it with the right systems and principles. Today, we are taking it a step further by looking at emotional intelligence, or what is also known as emotional quotient, EQ, and specifically how empathy can reshape the way we connect with others at home, at work, and in our communities. Because let's face it, you can have the loudest microphone in the room, but if you can't truly relate to the people you're speaking to, your words lose their impact. So if you want to shift from just talking to truly connecting, stick around. Emotional intelligence is the missing key that turns ordinary communication into meaningful dialogue. Let's dive in. So guys, let me ask you something. Have you ever worked for a boss or colleague who seemed completely unaware of everybody's emotions in the room? Maybe you've had that manager, maybe you've had that relative or a team leader who backs orders without pausing to see if the team is overwhelmed, or even having co-workers who perhaps roll their eyes the moment you share an idea. Have you had people who make you feel out of place at work based on how they respond to you? I can recall a particular incident where I was part of a team, and our team leader, let's call him Peter for this example, was brilliant at financial management, but he was very poor at reading people and he struggled with empathy. So Peter wanted top-notch results from us, his team members, and he wanted them fast. The problem was he never noticed when his team did something good, he never noticed when there was incremental growth, and he never noticed when the team was burnt out or stressed. Instead of asking, how are you holding up? What's causing that delay? Do you need support? He'd go straight into, why hasn't this been done yet? And I remember this particular time that we worked on an event, and everybody did their best as they could, and the event went really well. But of course, like any event, there's always something that does go wrong, but we would say that the execution was about 90%. And when we had the debrief after the session, instead of the team leader beginning with, oh, well done, this was done well, and this was done well, and well done, team, because the team had not slept for almost the last 48 hours, trying to put everything together, trying to get the guests inside on time, accommodated, ensuring that the PA systems were working, ensuring catering was done, ensuring the presentations were up to par. Everything went well, and the audience and participants had a wonderful time at that particular seminar. During the debrief, Peter was very livid and very annoyed and asking everybody on the team about this one thing that went wrong, that there was a particular session that didn't start on time because it took longer to get the participants back into the room after the tea break. And he focused so much on that. This went wrong and this went wrong, and who is responsible, and why didn't Joe do this, and why didn't this one do this? And everybody was deflated. They were expecting to get a pat on the back for all the wonderful things they had done that day. And while he has a right to bring up the things that did not go well and ask for accountability, the way he did it made the team feel deflated and not want to show up with their best selves at the upcoming event, because now they learned that even though you do your very best at something, it would still not be good enough. So what happened after this? After weeks and weeks of going through this, morale plummeted in the team. People started missing deadlines, and great employees and team members began looking for other gigs. A few team members even quit, while others became complacent, unmotivated, and resentful. In hindsight, if Peter had taken a moment to show genuine concern, maybe even checked in on the workload stress or asked how he could help, he might have created a more engaged, motivated team. Or perhaps by starting by thanking them for what they did right, and then now coming later to talk about opportunities to improve, it would have created an environment where communication was not just about the tasks, but about the people. So if this scenario sounds familiar, or even maybe you are the Peter in this story, you have not realized that the way you have been acting in your workplace or in your communities has been demotivating your team members and putting them in a lower capacity. Well, stick with me today so that we can explore how to turn this around for both you and your team members. So what exactly is emotional intelligence, and why does it matter so much? Emotional intelligence is the art of being self-aware and learning to attune yourself with others in order to be able to relate with them in a successful manner. Psychologist Daniel Goleman is largely credited with popularizing the concept of emotional intelligence. He wrote a book in 1995 called Emotional Intelligence, where he studied how non-cognitive skills these are things like, empathy, listening, being self-aware, and relationship management, are able to assist you in success and communication rather than relying on just IQ alone. In the past, having a higher IQ was seen as a great component to leading to better communication and better success. However, we learned that the role of emotions cannot be understated in any community around the world. Right now, we advocate for storytelling in every sphere that we do. Why storytelling? Because you're able to evoke emotions in different type of people. Emotions are things that cannot be ignored because there's no human being who does anything with zero emotions. While we apply logic to many of the things that we do, emotion was underlooked in the past as a critical component, even in things like marketing, to understand why consumers buy the things that they do, why listeners listen to what they listen to, why readers buy the books that they do, is tied to emotions. And when it comes to relationships, whether at work or with our friends, our colleagues, our families, ignoring emotions is detrimental to getting heard. In this episode, we are trying to still follow up on our previous series on finding your voice. And in order for us to be able to find our voice, we need to break down why emotional intelligence is so key. So psychologist Goleman outlined 5 core components of EQ. One was self-awareness. He found that it was critical for you to recognize your own emotions, your own strengths, and your own limitations. It's about knowing how you respond in different environments, whether they are stressful, challenging, or happy environment. A lot of us, especially when we're growing up, are not very aware of how we are around other people. While we are very aware of the effect other people have on us, sometimes we have not done the work to see how we are around other people or how we make other people feel. For me, I remember when I was younger, I was very keen on truth telling. So I always spoke my truth. And I believed that the truth was there to be said. But I noticed when I interact with my friends and they seek an opinion about something, they ask, what do you think about my paper? What do you think about this presentation that I'm going to make? Please give me some tips on how to improve. And I'd be brutally honest. I'd say, this sucks, you need to change this, and this, you need to change this. But at the time, I didn't realize that I was crushing people. In as much as what I was saying was true, how I was delivering it made it to be blocked and not received, because people would see that either you're being too hard on them, or you're not being helpful, or you're trying to tell them to change things that even they don't know how to change. And until I became self-aware of the impact of my words on others, was I able to tune closer to my own communication style. Number 2, self-regulation. Once you have now mastered self-awareness, you're able to self-regulate. This means managing your emotional impulses and adapting to changing circumstances. It prevents knee-jerk reactions that can harm relationships. I'm sure some of you, this has happened to you. You've gone to work, you've gone for an interview, you have a presentation to make, you've worked on it for the last 1 week, you've put your all in it. And after just presenting, within 1 minute, your team leader or somebody on the team is heavy on the criticism, rubbishes your whole work and sends you back to step 1. Go back to the drawing board. Everything you've been doing is not good enough. You feel something rising out of you. Perhaps the same team leader was very vague on instructions, was not being very clear on what they expected from you. And here they are rubbishing everything that you've done. You feel like reacting. You feel like telling them immediately. However, if we learn how to self-regulate, learn how to take in that deep breath, in, out, calm yourself, bring yourself back to the center, you're able to regulate your emotions and come up with a response that is both respectful, but still places your boundaries in a very clear manner. The third one was internal motivation. He found that a drive to pursue goals was based on personal passion rather than external rewards, which leads to more resilience and perseverance. This shows that if people are not necessarily motivated, if you're the one who is a team leader in this case, you realize that people are not necessarily motivated by what you tell them, but more of what is internal in them. So taking some time to develop your team members, to develop the team you're leading, or even though it's your own family, your own children, and to see what internally motivates them can lead to more resilience and perseverance. Empathy. Empathy just means putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. Understanding and sharing the feelings of others is crucial for building genuine trust and genuine connection. Empathy means that if you have an employee who is perpetually late to work, perhaps it would be nice to take some time to find out what could be disturbing them. instead of perpetually, giving them show cause letters or even pushing them out of the job and crushing them. It's good to understand what could be disturbing them and help them on that journey. For some of us, it could be just putting ourselves in the mindset of the person that we are trying to get an impression out of. This could be a customer, you've gone for an interview, you're making a pitch. It helps to understand the mindset. If you go for an interview and you have applied for the position of marketing officer and you sit there and you start talking all about yourself without even trying to understand what this interviewer is looking for. Maybe you had read the job description, gone through their website, and come ready, already knowing what they are looking for. It goes a long way. Number 5 was social skills. Social skills means you have to work on building rapport, managing relationships, and influencing effectively. You are not able to communicate effectively if you're not able to connect with people socially. That means that we have to take time out to network, time out to talk to people at work. During break times, when you go for a workshop, don't just go during tea, have your tea, and then go and just sit and wait for the next session. Build your skill set by slowly starting to talk to the person next to you. If you've gone for a webinar, if you've gone for an event. I know for some people, it's really difficult breaking out of that, their introverted nature and starting to talk to people. But the more you practice social skills and talking to other people, the more you're able to communicate effectively and build on your emotional intelligence. When empathy is absent, like the example I gave about Peter, the team leader, communication breaks down. There is a block and a culture of mistrust can form. When empathy is present, the opposite happens. Problems are tackled with compassion and foresight, forging stronger bonds. So why does empathy elevate communication? It does because 1, it turns a one-way monologue into a two-way conversation. If somebody comes to you and they're telling you, I'd like you to do this and I need it by Monday, and also do this and do this and do this, and you're looking at them and wondering, are you crazy? I'm one human being. How will I manage all this? They don't give you an opportunity to say anything in return. Then that's a one-way conversation. There's a high likelihood that that work will not be ready on time because that person was talking one way. If this person is you, I hope this lets you know how to be able to improve that. 2, it helps you to read the room. What do we mean by reading the room? You read the room and adapt your message. If you are speaking in front of people, you're making a presentation. Already it's difficult enough to make that presentation that you've worked hard on. But you have to be able to adapt as you go along. You have to be able to look at the people in the audience and see whether they are following what you're saying. Do not ignore verbal cues, non-verbal cues, body language. Whatever you see, you align yourself and adapt the message. Do not stick to your script without acknowledging that perhaps it's not what is translating. And number 3, it shows respect, which fosters collaboration and loyalty. Above all, empathy is about seeing the human being behind the conversation or the workload. Now, the discussion about empathy and emotional intelligence, it also reminds me of a biblical figure who showed remarkable emotional intelligence. And this character is Joseph. And we see the story of Joseph's journey in the book of Genesis in the Bible. From being sold into slavery by his own brothers to rising in the ranks under Potiphar in Egypt and eventually becoming Pharaoh's second in command. It's quite a story, and I'd urge you to go and read it when you get a chance. So what happened with Joseph was a very interesting story. Can you imagine your own brothers sitting down? I know some of you can imagine. I know not everybody has good brothers, but some brothers plot to kill you. And you can hear everything they're saying, like, let's kill this dude. And they grab you and they take you somewhere. One of the brothers says, okay, guys, let's not kill this guy and let's sell him off instead. And they sell you off instead. You can imagine how heartbreaking that is. You know, it's so heartbreaking, the betrayal, oh my gosh. And then you're sold off as a slave. You go to a new land. You get arrested for false claims. You get put in prison. But after being put in prison, some very interesting things happen. You realize that Joseph is a model of emotional intelligence. Why? Number 1, he reads situations accurately. When he was in prison, he was called out to interpret Pharaoh's dreams, and he was able to interpret them. Now, of course, God has placed a gift in him that allowed him to interpret, but I'm very sure emotional intelligence played a key in interpreting these dreams. He was able to understand the emotional and practical needs of the people around him. He was able to see what's going on, read the Pharaoh, understand what the Pharaoh is saying, look at the people around him, listen to what is happening around him, and he was able to read the situation accurately. And that is a sign of EQ. Number 2, he showed empathy even in betrayal. Despite being wronged by his brothers, we are to see that later on, when he was elevated by Pharaoh to a position of power, when there was a drought in the other land and his brothers had to come all the way to Egypt looking for food, and he recognized his brothers, he had the opportunity to revenge. But instead, he showed empathy. He put himself in his brother's shoes, and he chose compassion. When he finally revealed his identity to his brothers, he cried, he wept, which showed deep emotional awareness. While he could have revenged, put them to the dungeons, had them killed, he knew that would not have healed the pain of betrayal inside of him. He knew it would have caused him more pain because these were still his brothers. And he decided to choose a path that doesn't make a lot of sense, of forgiveness, and in fact bless them and actually give them a lot of food. But ultimately it healed the wound inside of him and helped him to become a better person. And number 3, he balanced logic with humanity. Joseph laid out a strategic plan to store grain during the 7 years of abundance. There was a time when there was going to be a big drought. And so he used that knowledge that he had to prepare for the 7 years of famine. While today, even today it still applies to us here. But even in our workplaces, sometimes we have to do some planning to prepare for what is coming next. And having that logical sense, you have the logic inside of you and you also have the emotional awareness, can help you create good strategic plans, just like Joseph did. He was also able to engage with people's fears and needs and ensure that they were well taken care of. So what can we learn here? We can learn that Joseph's ability to combine practical skill with an empathetic insight is what made him stand out. He wasn't just a good organizer. He recognized people's emotional states and responded with both wisdom and compassion. But you know what is interesting about this? Not only did the people benefit, but he himself, Joseph, benefited. He managed to heal himself. He managed to rise to a position of power, and he managed to succeed because he was a strategic planner. And this was because he was able to dig into his emotional intelligence. Let's shift from theory to practice. We have talked about how emotional intelligence is very critical to success. Emotional intelligence is critical to communication. And lack of emotional intelligence can lead to breakdown of the communication process. Because the message that you're trying to send out there, which is buy my product, which is please employ me when I come for your interview, which is please let's have a wonderful relationship, please let's be able to do this work. That message is unable to reach its intended audience because you're not tapping into and listening actively to the people around you. I want to give you 4 strategies to help you develop emotional intelligence and strengthen empathy in your everyday communication. 1, have a check-in mindset. What does it mean? It means that before you jump into tasks or directives, take a minute to ask yourself, how am I feeling today? Is there anything else on my mind that's bugging me? So this starts with preventing you from carrying one problem to another. Maybe you've come from home and home was tough. You've had an argument with your spouse, or you're stressed because you've not paid your children's school fees, or you have another trigger at home. And then you take it to the workplace. From the time you arrive from work, you're already agitated. You're already on the edge. You're already feeling like people are picking on me. You feel like everybody can see that you've not paid your rent, yet they cannot see that. So take a moment to check in with yourself and begin every meeting with a brief check-in and find out, am I bringing my best self today? Be aware that nobody knows what's happening with me at home. I don't need to bring it here. I don't need to be so defensive today. So check in with yourself and find out how you're doing. If you find yourself in a disagreement with team members, take a minute to ask yourself, could I be the problem here? Critically think before you start going haywire. This small question can drastically reduce tension and improve collaboration by validating your own emotions and the people around you. Number 2, active and reflective listening. I cannot underscore the importance of active listening. A lot of us today are distracted. We're distracted by social media. We are perpetually on our phones, on our computers. It's really hard to find people concentrating on one task at a time. The art of listening, the art of talking and conversation is slowly dying. You have to learn how to actively listen to somebody. When you're in a conversation and you have a team leader speaking to you, it's an interview, maybe you're the boss, or you're the one who is a team leader, you need to listen actively. Get out of your phone, get out of your computer, tune out of your thoughts. Listen to what this person is saying. If you need help, you can get a notebook and train yourself to write down notes as you go along. This will help you to understand. Give your full attention to your speaker. Let the speaker finish and then paraphrase their main points to ensure understanding. Use things like, I hear you saying this, or it sounds like you are concerned about this. This helps you to reflect the feelings of the other person. Avoid rushing to fix or judge. Focus on clarifying questions first and remove distractions like phones when you are in conversations with other people. So active listening is a very, very key component when it comes to both communication as well as emotional intelligence. Number 3, you need to practice self-awareness and self-regulation. You need to be able to recognize when you're stressed, angry, anxious, so that you're able to manage it so that it doesn't spill over. If you do not know what you're feeling, you carry that everywhere. You've heard the statement where even we say a hungry man is an angry man. Even something as simple as hunger. You've gone into a meeting hungry, you've not eaten all day and you're starving, you are late to have breakfast, so you ran out of the house and you're starving. That can affect how you interact with other people and make you angry, unnecessarily angry, irritable. You need to check in yourself with your health, how you're feeling. Do not bring anxiety from one part of your life to a different part of your life. You need to implement this by taking a 1-minute pause. If you feel your emotions are surging, take about 60 seconds before responding. Don't be so quick to respond. If it's a physical conversation, just breathe in and out and take some time before you respond. If it's an email and it has raised your emotions, do not be very quick to type and respond. Type your response, keep it on the burner for about 30 minutes, read it after an amount of time and realize that you are being very emotional, and then rewrite it. Do not send out communication when you're very, very worked up. When we control our own emotional response, we create space to respond empathetically rather than react impulsively. Number 4, you need to lead with compassion and clarity. Just like the story of Joseph, you need to combine empathetic concern with clear action steps, much like that example. How can you implement this? You can do it by when someone shares a concern with you, acknowledge their feelings and propose constructive next steps. Remember, listening to someone does not necessarily mean agreeing with them. Just because you're listening to them till the very end doesn't mean you agree. And if you disagree, doesn't mean you need to interrupt them. Listen to them, and then you're able to propose constructive next steps. Keep communication consistent. When people see that empathy is backed by follow-through, trust grows. If you're not consistent, nobody will ever trust that you can do that thing well. You have to be consistent with the thing that you say that you will do. Compassion without action feels hollow. So if a team member tells you that they're unwell, you need to be able to take some practical support. You have to show true empathy, not to say, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. So can I have the report by 2 p.m.? That shows that is not real compassion. It has no action. It shows a lack of emotional intelligence. Somebody tells you that my child was sick. I need to take them to hospital. And you're like, oh, your child is sick. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I really pray that your baby gets better. So anyway, back to work. I hope that at 2 p.m. we'll have everything ready. That shows lack of emotional intelligence. Number 5, leverage artificial intelligence and digital tools. What it means is you have to incorporate technology to build and maintain emotional awareness. How do you integrate this? You can use AI-based journaling apps. Writing down on paper helps you to understand and listen to other people. You're able to take notes to be able to reflect on emotional triggers and track patterns over time. While writing sometimes can be seen as old school and time consuming and might not be able to gather your thoughts properly, you can use AI-based journaling apps like, for example, Notion AI or even Journey to help you with this. You need to explore conversation analytic tools that measure tone or sentiment in emails or chat, offering data-driven insights. This is especially good for written work. You've written that email, you're under pressure, you feel it's a bit emotional. You can use AI apps to check your tonality and sentiment so that you're not aggrieving or irritating further the people you're communicating to. Sometimes a little objective feedback from technology can open our eyes to patterns that we did not know existed. This can also happen in voice, where you're able to record yourself and play it out, and AI can help you to track patterns in your speech that you did not know that were there before and can help you become emotionally aware of your tone when you speak to people. I know even there are some people, every time they speak, people around them ask them, why are you shouting? Why are you yelling? And the person is shocked, like, I'm not yelling, because that's their style of talking, and they've not yet learned that it's a trigger, it aggravates other people, and to them they feel like they're just communicating normally. I'd now like to leave you with a challenge of the week. 1, I'd like you to pick one emotional intelligence strategy. Check-in, active listening, self-regulation, leading with compassion, or integration of AI digital tools, and apply it at least once every day for the next 1 week. Secondly, I'd like you to share your experience in our Convey with Caroline online community. Did you notice a difference in how people responded? What did you learn about your own emotional triggers? By applying these steps, you'll be able to see empathy move from a buzzword to a genuine force in your communication. As we wrap up episode 5 of Emotional Intelligence and Communication, I hope you see that empathy isn't just about being the nice girl or the nice dude. It's about truly understanding and valuing yourself and the person you're speaking with. Whether it's your boss, your team, your clients, or your family, emotional intelligence can transform the tone and outcome of every interaction. If you found this episode insightful, please subscribe and share with someone who might benefit from an empathy boost in their life. Because at the end of the day, being heard is a universal need, and empathy is how we meet that need for one another. Until next time, remember, the world needs your voice and your heart. Let's convey both with excellence.